When my husband came home from the trip he took with his mother on our anniversary and saw the papers on the table, his expression froze. "What is this, Luna?" His voice trembled. "But let me tell you how we got here. For 5 years, I tried to build a happy life with Noah. I really did. I worked as an HR coordinator at an international consulting firm, a job I loved, where I'd excelled, where people actually valued my opinion. But at home, everything revolved around Diane, his mother. At first, I thought it was normal. Diane had raised Noah alone after his father walked out when he was 7. So when Noah told me how much he owed her, how she'd sacrificed everything for him, I understood. I come from a family where respecting your parents isn't optional. It's fundamental. So when Diane needed Noah to drive her to the store right when we'd planned a romantic dinner, I canceled the reservations without complaining. When she called at midnight because she heard a strange noise and needed him to check her apartment, I smiled and said it was fine. When she had opinions about our furniture, our schedule, whether we should get a dog, I listened politely and kept my mouth shut. I thought I was being a good wife. A good daughter-in-law. I thought this was what marriage looked like when you marry someone who values family. I didn't realize I was slowly erasing myself. My name is Luna. I'm 29 years old, and I live in Atlanta, Georgia with my husband. Diane had a key to our condo. She'd let herself in without warning, sometimes when we were both at work, sometimes when we were home. She'd reorganize my kitchen cabinets because she didn't like how I arranged things. She'd criticize my cleaning methods, leave notes about areas I'd missed. Once, she threw away a meal I'd prepared for Noah, claiming it didn't look fresh, and cooked something herself instead. I tried talking to Noah multiple times. "Baby, we need boundaries. Your mother can't just walk into our home like this." He'd get defensive immediately. "That's my mother, Luna. She's just trying to help. Why are you being so selfish? Maybe we could try couples therapy?" Therapy? We're not crazy. You just need to be more understanding. Every conversation ended the same way. I was the problem. I was the difficult daughter-in-law, the ungrateful wife who didn't appreciate how lucky she was. So I stopped trying. I focused on my work, where my opinions actually mattered, where people listened when I spoke, where I wasn't constantly being told I was wrong for wanting basic respect in my own home. Everything changed 3 months ago. Noah surprised me with something wonderful. "Luna," he said one evening, his eyes bright with excitement I hadn't seen in years. "I've been saving. We're going to Paris for our anniversary. 5 years together deserves something special." For the first time in so long, I felt hope. Real hope. Maybe this trip would reconnect us. Maybe being away from Atlanta, away from Diane, we could remember who we were before everything got so complicated. We spent weeks planning every detail. Watching videos of the Eiffel Tower at sunset, choosing little cafes in the Marais, dreaming about walking along the Seine holding hands, being a couple again. I let myself believe. I let myself imagine us finding each other again. That was my mistake. 2 days before we were supposed to leave, I was in our bedroom packing when Diane called. I heard her voice through the speakerphone, that familiar shrill tone that made my shoulders tense automatically. "She wants to visit Aunt Gloria in Savannah," he said after hanging up. "She hasn't seen her in 10 years. She says this might be her last opportunity." My heart started pounding. I knew it was coming. I promised I'd take her. "We'll use our tickets." "Noah." I stopped folding clothes, turned to face him. "We've been planning this for months. It's our anniversary. It's already decided." He wasn't even looking at me. "You can stay home and rest. When I get back, we'll plan another trip. I promise." Something inside me broke in that moment. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just stared at him. "You know how many times you've promised that?" My voice came out eerily calm. "How many times have our plans been canceled because of your mother?" He finally looked at me, irritation flashing across his face. "I've asked you for boundaries. I've begged you for therapy. I've tried for 5 years, Noah. 5 years of being told that your mother needs you and I paused. "I don't matter." He didn't say anything. His silence was my answer. "Go with your mother," I said with a calm that surprised even me. "Enjoy your trip." That night, while he slept peacefully, believing he'd won again, that his compliant wife had accepted her place, I was awake in the living room with my laptop. I started researching. Not lawyers yet. Just information. I read about divorce, about my rights, about how to protect myself. And for the first time in 5 years, I stopped being the wife who gave in. For the first time, I asked myself, why am I fighting so hard for someone who won't fight for me? I watched them leave for the airport the next morning. Diane slid into the passenger seat with this victorious little smile. Noah gave me a quick kiss on the cheek. I'll miss you. Back in 10 days. I waited until the car disappeared around the corner. Then I took a deep breath and called Shanice. I need your cousin's number. The lawyer. 2 hours later, I was sitting across from Beverly Patterson in her downtown office. She was about 50, with kind eyes and the calm demeanor of someone who'd seen it all. I told her everything. 5 years of being the second option. All the conversations Noah had ignored. The therapy he'd refused. The trip he'd just canceled. Luna, Beverly said when I finished, what do you want to do? I want a divorce. But I need to do this right. No drama, no revenge. I just want my freedom. We talked about assets. The condo we'd bought 3 years ago was in both our names. We had a modest joint savings account. I earned well and could support myself. No children. Diane always said we were still too young, I explained. Beverly explained the process. It wouldn't be quick, but it would be definitive. Are you sure? She asked gently. I was sure for 5 years that I could fix this. Now I'm sure I can't, and that I shouldn't have to do it alone. The next 3 days I prepared. I collected evidence. Screenshots of messages where Noah canceled our plans, photos of family events he'd missed because Diane needed something trivial. On day 4, I made another decision. 6 months ago, my boss Regina had offered me a promotion to regional manager. Noah had asked me not to accept it. You'll be traveling a lot. Who's going to take care of the house? What will my mother say? I called Regina. Is that position still available? Absolutely. When can you start? Next week. That afternoon, I started reclaiming my physical space. I took down Diane's photos from the living room. I reorganized the kitchen the way I actually wanted it. On day 5, while Noah was posting happy photos with his mother in Savannah, I signed the divorce petition. That night, my parents came over for dinner. I told them everything. My father, who'd always had quiet reservations about Noah, sighed deeply. Sweetheart, we were wondering how long you'd take it. We watched your light dim year after year. We're proud of you, my mother added, squeezing my hand. This isn't failure. It's courage. On day 10, I prepared. Divorce papers in a manila envelope, centered on the dining table. Suitcase packed in case I needed to stay with my parents. I wasn't running away. I was prepared. My parents arrived early that afternoon. Do you want us to stay when he gets here? My father asked. No, I said, hugging them both. I need to do this alone. At 6:30, I heard the key in the door. Noah walked in with his suitcase, smiling. I'm home, Luna. The trip was... He stopped, eyes landing on the manila envelope. What is this? Open it, I said from the couch, my voice calm. His hands trembled as he slid the papers out. I watched his face cycle through emotions. Confusion, shock, disbelief. Divorce petition. His voice cracked. Luna, this is a joke, right? It's not a joke. But I was only gone 10 days. I'm not divorcing you over a trip, Noah. I stood up, meeting his eyes. I'm divorcing you for 5 years of being invisible. For 5 years of asking you to set boundaries with your mother and being called selfish. For 5 years of watching our plans get canceled every time she snapped her fingers. That's not fair. She's my mother. And I was your wife. Past tense. Was. Because I don't want to keep being the woman who comes after everything and everyone else. Okay, you're right. Let's go to therapy. We can fix this. I asked you for therapy 3 years ago. 2 years ago. 6 months ago. You always said no. Now there are divorce papers on the table, and suddenly you want to go. He collapsed onto the couch, head in his hands. I can't believe you're doing this. After everything we built together. Noah, I said quietly, each word deliberate. I built this. You just lived here while your real life was with your mother. He looked up at me then, And for the first time, I think he actually saw me. I picked up my purse. My attorney will be in touch. You can stay here tonight. I'll be at my parents'. As I walked out, I heard him start to cry. I didn't look back. For the next 2 weeks, Noah tried everything. Flowers delivered to my office. Handwritten letters. Constant messages. He showed up at my workplace. Please, Luna. I love you. I'll change. Then Diane appeared at my parents' house one evening. We need to talk, she said, her voice smaller than usual. We sat in the living room. She broke down. Luna, please. Don't do this. Noah is devastated. He's not eating, not sleeping. Diane, with all due respect, this isn't your decision. But I'm his mother. I have a right to an opinion about his happiness. I felt so tired. And that's the problem. You've always had a right to an opinion. About everything in our marriage. About where we lived, how we decorated, when to have kids, when I could advance in my career. Your opinion always mattered more than mine. I just wanted what's best for my son. No, Diane. You wanted to keep control over your son. And he let you. But I can't live like this anymore. So you're going to destroy your marriage out of pride? It's not pride. It's dignity. It's knowing I deserve a partner who chooses me, who listens to me, who values me. And Noah never did. She left crying. But her tears didn't move me anymore. 3 weeks after filing, something unexpected happened. Noah appeared at my office. He looked different, thinner, exhausted, but something had changed in his eyes. I'm not here to beg, he said. I'm here to apologize. That surprised me. I asked my mother to return her key. I told her she can't visit without calling first, that I need space. She didn't take it well. She told me I was a bad son, that I was abandoning her like my father did. He paused. And for the first time in my life, I didn't give in. I told her I love her, but that her behavior cost me my marriage. He looked down at his hands. I started therapy. My therapist helped me see things I couldn't before. Luna, I was a terrible husband. I failed you in every way possible, and the worst part is you told me over and over and I didn't listen. Is there any possibility? No, I said softly but firmly. His face fell, but he nodded. I understand. I just wanted you to know you were right. About everything. When he left, I felt something strange. Peace. Not joy at his pain, but peace at having made the right decision. The divorce was finalized 2 months later. Noah didn't fight it. We divided everything equitably. He kept the condo and paid me my share. I kept my car and personal savings. Clean. Fair. Civilized. My new position as regional manager was exactly what I needed. I traveled to different cities, met brilliant people, led challenging projects. Every night I returned to my new apartment, small, but completely mine. No one reorganizing my things. No midnight emergency calls. One Friday, Shanice organized dinner with friends. To Luna, she toasted, who reminded us that self-love isn't selfish. To second chances, another friend added. And to knowing when to let go, I said. 3 months after the divorce, my company organized a conference in Charlotte. That's where I met Jordan Mitchell, an architect from a local firm. He was kind. He actually listened when we talked. When I mentioned my recent divorce, he didn't flinch. The best people I know have had to start over at some point. We got coffee after the conference. Goodbye, he said. I'd like to keep in touch. As friends, if that's okay with you. That sounds perfect. I don't know if Jordan will become something more. I'm not in a hurry. For the first time in years, I'm learning to enjoy my own company. To make decisions without consulting anyone. 4 months after the divorce, I received an unexpected message from Noah. I know you don't have any obligation to respond, but I wanted you to know something. My mother and I went to family therapy together. She's learning to respect boundaries, and I'm learning to be a better person. Thank you for not giving up on trying to make me listen, even though I didn't understand in time. I wish you all the happiness in the world. I typed back simply, I'm glad you're both doing better. Take care, Noah. I didn't feel sadness or anger. I felt hope for him and gratitude for myself. Because we were both growing, just on separate paths. That night, I opened my laptop and booked something I'd been postponing. A trip to Paris. I'd go alone. Visit the Eiffel Tower. Eat at small bistros. Walk along the Seine. Everything I dreamed about, but this time for me. Only for me. The following Monday, Regina called me into her office. Luna, we're very impressed with your work these past months. There's a position opening, Director of Human Talent for the entire Southeast region. I felt my heart skip. You're brilliant, organized, empathetic, and clearly know how to handle difficult situations. She smiled knowingly. That afternoon, I thought about the old Luna, the one who had canceled her trip to Paris without protest, who had swallowed her pain for years, who had believed that loving meant disappearing. And I thought about this new Luna, the one who made tough decisions, who chose her own happiness, who learned that she couldn't save a marriage alone. I accept the position, I told Regina. Thank you for believing in me. As I walked back to my office, I smiled, because I had finally understood the most important lesson of my life. Love shouldn't hurt, shouldn't make you smaller, shouldn't require you to give up who you are. That was exactly what I learned, and I will never forget it. Did you enjoy the story? If so, hit like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe. Thanks for watching Revenge with Keisha. See you next time.